Tipping the scales around 5,900 pounds, the Wildwood 273 QB XL back for another season here at Wildwood RV of Coldwater, Michigan. This one does some hard-to-find things in this class and category. Not only is it giving us full privacy in the bedroom and the bunk room, but it's also giving us a very different kind of L-shaped bunkhouse, which it really provides a lot of the benefits of a two-slide bunk room without the length, weight, and cost of that second slide out. And that is really one of the coolest things about this. At 5,900 pounds, half-ton towable, I feel, pretty much all day long, obviously assuming proper capacities on your half-ton. Very large class SUVs, your expedition size stuff with proper hitching, might be able to handle something like this. It really just depends on your comfort level and where you plan to camp and things like that. That's another thing is, how you tow and where you tow, those things factor into, can you tow it just as much as the vehicle itself. But the VersaLounge, the carpetless, the strong arm stabilizer jacks, this one is just, I don't care if it's going to be your first camper or if you're upgrading from something with like no slide or smaller, you are going to love what you're getting here, especially due to the fact that as the kids get bigger, you're not going to need to replace this one. And if you've watched a bunch of our videos, then you're going to say this living room looks awful darn familiar. There's a good reason for that. Wildwood found something that works really well for them, and they kind of like punch it out like a cookie cutter, Little Christmas tree cookies coming out of the Wildwood plant, and all you're going to do is just kind of change up the icing on the back of them a little bit. Like this one has a private rear bunk room, as opposed to something like the 263 Wildwood, which has open corner bunks. It means this is a little longer, a little heavier, but now we've got separate sleeping quarters. I also want to hit on the important options in this, like the fact that we have centralized the air conditioning. That is not a standard feature. That is also not daylight pouring in above the slide out. I've had people assume that, so I want to make sure you know that is actually an indirect accent light above the slide, which is kind of cool. Now, all these big panoramic windows have rolled down night shades, which is really nice. And please stay tuned to the end of the video. This has the Wildwood VersaLounge, now standard in all Super Slight Wildwoods, Xlite, and Full Blood Wildwood. And I will take you through like a 6.5 minute tour showing you all of the different features and functions of that. One of the other cool things I want to hit on here, though, is that Xlite has gone carpetless. It is a step up slide out, whereas the Full Blood Wildwood is a floor flush slide, but this one is carpetless, and that one has carpet. So they each have their own unique, interesting little advantages over one another. And that's the thing. It's not like you should really feel like Xlite's a little brother and you're settling for it. They're both Wildwoods. It's just that they've gone about it a little different way. You can see the sealed edge countertops here, and you will find those not just in the dining area, but through the entirety of like the kitchen space, the bathroom space. Anywhere there's a countertop, it's going to be that nice sealed edge kind of stuff. Over here, Wildwood was the first mainstream manufacturer in this class to standardize the use of that 10.7 cubic foot 12 volt DC compressor fridge. Gives us, far more cold storage capacity, cools much, much more quickly. Let's see here. We'll come back. We'll see all the kitchen storage in just a minute. Let's jump through that door over there into the bathroom, shall we? First of all, right away, the fact that we've got a medicine cabinet, not just a mirror glued to the wall, which is something you find about half the time in this class and price point. It's a simple bathroom. This is a simple function first camper, but I had enough legroom there. And over here, you see how they got an easy step-in shower, not a tub. What do you guys think about that in a bunkhouse? Because it actually makes a lot of sense to me. You don't tend to spend enough time in an RV like taking a bath. And I know on a bunkhouse with kids, it kind of feels like it makes sense. But what you're going to find is you're going to be in and out of this thing, so this is simple, quick, and easy. And you notice how the shower curtain actually is on a track, so that it's, not going to be like a Jacques Cousteau squid sucking against you when you're in the shower, because, man, that is just a creepy, weird feeling, am I right? So you're not going to have to worry about water dribbling all over the floor. Kind of like that centralized air conditioning, the skylight above that shower is another optional piece of equipment that we've put in for you here at Wildwood RV. Up top here, it is a simple one-room fan. That's enough for a bathroom, but if you did want to upgrade to a larger fan, we have all kinds of stuff like that available here at Wildwood's. So don't let little things stop you. If it boils down to screwdriver work, give us a call. We can make things happen there. And this is something I think is really smart. I'm a bigger guy, so that extra little cutaway on the bathroom counter right there so that I can actually sit down on this thing and have some shoulder or hip or elbow or whatever room, not to mention just easy access to extra toilet paper. Always a handy thing, especially after a chili con carne cook-off if you're smelling what the Rock is cooking. But it's really, I think, this private rear bunk room right here, it's the defining quality of this one. Now, this is going to look and feel very similar to the 28 VBXL Wildwood that we have here at Xlite RV. It has a pair of flip-up bunks on the side as opposed to the L-Bunkhouse right here. They are not interchangeable floor plans. The bunk rooms are each going to dictate several interesting differences between the two. So by virtue of the fact that we have a fixed lower bunk over here, this one has a dedicated outside camp. Well, no, it's an optional camp kitchen, but they have a dedicated space for it. Whereas the 28 VBXL has to go with a mini camp kitchen, also optional, in the kitchen area, which will cause a little bit of storage loss that we'll talk about when we get there. The other thing is, from wall to wall over here, you have nearly an 8-foot wide bed. So this model right here is really good, not just for kids, but like, not little kids, but like big kids, teenagers, or guest adults. Not to mention, you know, all the little touches like the USB plugs where you need them to keep your phone running. But I know a lot of people do not like the little, any sort of conversion sort of cube bed thing. And what you can see here is this one's giving us a dedicated sofa. But it does a few things. So like I said, you know, we've got a big sleeping space up here, but if you need it, you can fold this down into yet another sleeping area. And that's what's cool about this one. It still qualifies the QB and the model number, I think, quad bunk. Not to mention the fact that we also have some storage down there below that seating. Now, I will shoot you straight. Be careful loading cargo down there, because you can see some exposed things in there, like a plumbing line. You want to make sure you're not going to put stuff around there that's going to bang and crash and smash up. This is not a roller derby. This is a bunkhouse. I was going to try to come up with something funny there, and I failed, which I think is actually funnier. I don't know. Now, if you were to climb in that lower bunk, this is kind of what you'd see. I like that window there. But you notice how it does have a little bit of dedicated hanging storage for the kids. It is hard to put big storage in this little room since so much of it is occupied by bunks. But you could add some extra storage up there. You can see that it is all set as like the kiddos' entertainment center. So if it is a rainy day and the kids are all jacked up on the marshmallows and the Mountain Dew, as I like to say, you could have them back here. You could say, all right, kids, go to your room, close the door. And then mom and dad or grandpa and grandma or whoever, you enjoy the full living room space. Coming out of the bunk room, that herringbone pattern on that flooring really kind of strikes me there. So once again, we've got these big panoramic windows, but those do have roller shades on them. Those roller shades also have a white backer. So if you want to keep the sunshine out of this thing so you're not melting like an ant under a magnifying glass, you got it. The electric space heating fireplace over here, that's a standard feature. That's very similar to, say, like the Cherokees and the Grey Wolves that we have here at Xlite RV, but that is not a feature you often associate with a smarter class budget point camper like this. And that clutter-cutting shoe garage is something I'm always a fan of it. And this, you know, if you wanted to put a swing arm mount on this wall, you could mount yourself a massive jumbotron of a TV on that thing and have yourself some amazing entertainment. But I think this floor plan also really appeals to a lot of people who aren't specifically looking for a TV in the camper. They want to be outside, getting the kids dirty and hosing them off. And that will often be a difference, by the way, between an Xlite and a full Wildwood. A full Wildwood will often tend to have a more direct viewing entertainment center with a little more focus on TV setups, whereas this one, you know, the TV setup is a secondary concern, but it is also creating that fantastic bedroom privacy wall. Now, you saw down here, we've got ourselves a great space for a wastebasket. And this is kind of what I was talking about when I mentioned a little more storage in this one versus the 28 VBXL. When you option the mini camp kitchen on the 28 VBXL, you have to sacrifice that bottom kitchen drawer. It still has one, but one does feel sometimes a little bit limited, and that second drawer there I think is a nice touch, as is that big window. Great cross breeze. You can actually keep an eye on the kids, especially if you open the main viewing entry door. Just leave your screen door open and have a good look at what's going on in your campsite. Plus, you got the slide side breeze windows over here for great cross ventilation. Now, one of the other things I want to mention, the VersaLounge has recently been updated, and it's not something you're really seeing visibly, but they have thickened and stiffened up these cushions. It is a far more enjoyable experience sitting on those now. They've made it a little more like American-sized friendly. And Cherokee did it. If I'm being just totally transparent, unlike that door, I'd love it if there was some kind of window in that door, even a frosty glass window to let some extra light in. What do you guys think about that? Leave me a comment. Let me know what you think about that. So a full-on closing door here in the bedroom, and look at this big campside viewing and breeze window we get in the bedroom. So if you wake up, there's a bump in the night, and you don't want to call Ghostbusters, you can see if it's Mr. Raccoon getting into your leftovers if you happen to leave something on the picnic table. Somebody goes, what is going on? Did they forget? Did they screw something up? No, that's just a little power junction access box to your awning, by the way. When you see everything from the outside, you'll see there's an awning motor head right up next to that. So that's just an access point. Also, little details like this. They're giving us a light switch for the ceiling lights in the bedroom. At this class and price point, that's an uncommon feature. Also, look at the T-molding trim that you have both in the walls and in the ceiling. They're not using just a little sticker wallpaper, which can have heat and humidity issues that cause it to kind of sweat off sometimes. You won't have that here. One other cool thing I want to show you here, if I get over to this window, you can see that even here in the bedroom, you've still got the blackout roller shades. Now, you notice how you're seeing USB outlets down there. One of the other really cool things they're going to do here in these Wildwoods is they have built-in CPAP storage. You see that little cutaway cubby on the side right there? But if we get a little bit closer, see they also have household outlets inside. So let me ask you guys, what would you use this space for? Because first things that come to my mind are things like, you know, a CPAP storage, obviously, as the name implies, but a place, you know, to have my phone out of the way or some personal items, some effects, maybe some valuables I want to be able to reach real quick but keep out of direct line of sight. What would you guys do in there? Not to mention if you're a little claustrophobic, you know, it doesn't feel like you're getting squished inside of this thing over here. One other kind of quick cool thing for you, if we flip that bed up, it is an easy lift bed with a plywood deck base and gas struts. And then down below here, you can see how we have like almost like extra dresser storage space. But we also have that handy little shoe garage there. And where this is really cool in a bunk model is what you can kind of do is dedicate each one of those little totes to one of the either yourselves or maybe the little people sleeping back in the bunk room. And it is nice to have some of that dedicated kind of almost like dresser storage space, because admittedly the storage in the bunk room is quite limited, but that's not necessarily something that you don't see. Like, I phrased that poorly. That's a normal thing to see in this class. I don't necessarily like that, but you know, the RV isn't big enough yet for a lot of storage capacity. And those little totes, those things under the bed, I think that helps, you know? And a quick look here with this super slide closed. Thankfully, this type of slide system, if you need to just kind of walk on it real quick to get around that peninsula countertop, around the VersaLounge over here into the kitchen, you can. So you see, if we need to stop and grab like a bite to eat, we can do that. Remember, tune into the end of the video so you can see the VersaLounge in full-on, full-function mode, including sleeper. So if you do need to make an overnight sleep stop, you could utilize your master bedroom and the VersaLounge for sleeping space, but you're not really easily able to get back to the bunk room or the bathroom without cracking the slide open. I would prefer it if we could, but I'm also not going to lie about it, not going to gloss over it, and if you appreciate that decency and candor, definitely give our team here at Wildwood RV a call and click that subscribe button real quick. And starting right up front here, we have ourselves an extra thick nose skin. And what that's going to do for us, basically, is help fight off wind buffeting and stones getting flung in transit. So basically, even though you see some dedicated diamond plate down there, the whole front of the trailer is effectively extra thick and super resistant. So it's not going to look like some MMA fighter who takes a flying knee bash to the face and ends up with his nose inverted, you know? It's going to just keep looking good. Those easy, just stable steps that are fully removable, by the way. Now, in a two-step like this, it's usually not that hard to flip the steps up and down if you need to come and go at like a storage site. But if you absolutely had to, they can be totally removed, set down on the ground in place, and then basically pinned and locked back in place. Plus, you've got the easy adjust legs there. Inside of this pass-through, well, next to it rather, we have ourselves a simple side mount solar prep plug. And if you got something like a 90 or 100 watt portable solar panel, that is basically enough to have a really nice extended weekend, you know, in your camper. I also like the little touches here, the way that they've got all their little cranks and stuff dedicated out of the way. And then you see they're actually including the hex nut drill adapter right there for the manual corner jacks on this camper. And that means that with a simple, I don't know, like 18 volt power drill, you can pretend you're a NASCAR pit crew driver and put your jacks up and down in this way, way faster than power stabilizers. It's kind of funny the difference that makes right there. Now up front here, it's again the touches, kind of like they give you a place to put your jack cranks. What I'm going to call the little plug buddy, the little safety chain hooks. It's those little details that I appreciate from a manufacturer. It says, you know what? We care. We want you to really enjoy this thing long term. That power tongue jack's going to do the heavy lifting for us. And then right down here, tucked kind of inside and out of the way, away from debris, is a battery disconnect switch. So that when you are storing the RV, like you could manually turn that refrigerator off on the inside, but a lot of appliances actually just go into standby mode. They don't turn off. So if you want to make sure that parasitic load isn't eating your battery alive when it's in transit, or not in transit, nope. Make sure your battery's not disconnected in transit, by the way. I've seen some people do that. That battery, God forbid the trailer comes apart from the tow vehicle, that battery is what's going to fire your brakes to get the trailer brought down from highway speed so it doesn't turn into a dangerous missile. There's just a little tip for you from your Uncle Josh. Now, we already talked about those stable steps, but the 4-corner strong arm stabilizer jack legs right here, that is something I've never really seen other manufacturers in this class do, not with any sort of regularity. I've seen it only rarely up in fifth wheels. This is almost always an aftermarket item. When those lock arms are kind of tightened down into place once the stabilizers goes down, it will make this RV feel, I kind of call it like it's on a concrete pad. It's going to feel so sturdy and so stable. And they include them from the factory. So now they're factory warranted, because if you go screwing brackets into the manufacturer's chassis, they don't like that. And sometimes they get a little uppity about it, and rightfully so, maybe. I'm not even going to criticize them for that. And they have these not just on the rear jacks, but on the front ones as well. Our roof is fully walkable, we're backup camera ready, and back here just above the bumper, they put a black tank flush along with the city water hookup. Usually you see black tank flushes right next to the bathroom, but they did a good job of plumbing this one out of the way. Remember when we were inside and we lifted up that bunk room sofa and there was like a water line in there? That's part of what that is connected to. There's a gas grill quick connect down there under the corner of that bumper, because you're going to need that if you want to use the supplied factory little griddle station over here. And once again, this is one of the key differences between the very similar this 273 and the other 28 VBXL Wildwood. The 28 VBXL has an optional mini camp kitchen up there. This one has a little bit larger situation that is optional back here under the bunks. So which one kind of works for you? And I'd really love to know, how do you think this one stacks up against that 28? And I'll leave a link to that down in the video description so you can compare the two. So if you like what you see, well, not if you like what you see. If you like what you see, give us a call here at Xlite RV. We are family owned and operated, been here since 1989, and we would love the opportunity to earn your business, work with you. Almost blank for a minute there, forgot what I was even going to say. I make it up as I go, and I still manage to forget it. Figure that out. Regardless, if you appreciate the information we provided for you in this video, do me a favor. Please hit that subscribe button, click the like button on the video, and leave me a comment. Let me know, what do you like about the camper? What would you rather see differently? What do you dislike? Is there anything you would change? Do you have any questions, anything I missed, or is there anything I got wrong? I always want to make sure we're putting our best foot forward and giving you the best information possible. Remember, we don't do hidden fees at Xlite RV. We only do everything else. So take care, stay safe, have fun, and happy Xlite camping, everyone. Appreciate it very much. So starting now, keep in mind that this is just generic footage to show you how the VersaLounge works in all its different variations. Because we carry so many Wildwoods, and this is available in so many models, and it takes a lot of time to juggle between all these different formats to do my job properly, I thought I'd kind of record something a little more generic, and I think you can definitely get the idea. So first of all, in the super slides of Wildwoods, you see that they do have the blackout kind of roller shades. What is really nice is they have slide side breeze windows. I just have those covered up so that window all the way down there on the end will open for airflow, regardless of what configuration you have the seating in. So if you're looking at it right now, this is what I call traditional, where you've got yourself a U-dinette or a 2-bench dinette, because there are variants of the VersaLounge both ways, depending on the floor plan you're looking at, and then a sofa over here. And that is a very normal configuration. You don't, see a whole lot of variance there. But if you take note, that rear, the seat back closest to us on that U-dinette, it looks a little different. That's because it's removable. So if you don't want it there, it doesn't have to be there. And that's what's really cool about this thing. This is like phase 1 of about 5 of the VersaLounge arrangements. You can just create this wide open kind of super dining lounger hybrid combo job. Now that's a very technical term, I understand if you need to back the footage up a little bit to pick up what I'm putting down right there, but you folks, you're tuned into Wildwood RV. I think you're pretty sharp. What's kind of cool about this is it kind of makes it easy to sort of slide over the table, slide over to the seating. There's really no like one way that you have to use this. It's just the way that works best for you and your family. Next, it folds down into one super slide, super seating sleeper setup. I know that's a lot of alliteration for one thing in RV, but you get the idea. Now, what I love about this is found, the VersaLounge setup like this is found in all Super Slide, Wildwood, and Xlites once again. Now, you tend to find a lot of bunkhouse models in those families, but they make quite a few couples campers too. So that means like a Super Slide rear living couples camper can convert down into being exceptionally guest friendly. And it's long enough that, like, I'm a tall person. If I had my head on the right hand side of the frame and then there was a second copy of me sleeping with my head against that far wall, we might touch toes, but hey, no big deal. And most of the time you curl up and you're a side sleeper, you could make that work for a night, for a weekend. So it's good for more than just kids. It's also like adult guest friendly, or frankly, some people have really big kids and they need a little bit more than, just a conventional sleeper bunk setup. They need something longer. But one of the best and most unsung qualities of the Wildwood VersaLounge is all of this huge tote storage space that you're looking at. This is, I believe it's 20.1 cubic foot of total tote storage. They're food safe containers, so if you want to put some crackers or Oreos or snacks for the kids in there, it's not going to be contaminated if the RV, gets hot while it's in storage. You could leave stuff in here if need be, especially if they're, like non-perishable kind of things, but even if they're perishable stuff, short-term kind of thing. You see that under the sofa, there's like a drop-down face that, flops down and you can pull those totes out. They're stackable. And frankly, guys, if you don't need them, don't use them. There's nothing that says they have to stay here. They're not bolted to the camper by any stretch of the imagination. And where they're really useful is especially in bunk models, because what you can kind of do is dedicate each tote to one of the people in the RV. Like, say, the kids. And what you can do, my daughter, Chloe, what I could say is, okay, Chloe, I want you to take this tote, go upstairs to your room. There's clothes laying on your bed. I want you to put all those clothes in this and then bring it back to me. And bang, the kid's packed. It's an easy way to help get the kids involved. It's also an easy way to help keep all the kids' toys and clutter and everything, under control. Now, under the rear dinette bench on U-dinette models, because remember, there are some just 2-bench dinettes, so this part of the video may not necessarily apply. Please keep that in mind. But they leave it wide open. And I like that because you could stuff more totes or duffel bags down there if you're so inclined, but I have long legs, and when I sit at something for a while, I tend to lean forward, and I like to curl my legs under me. Now, that's just me, but I looked at that and said, oh my gosh, I could actually be comfortable here, whereas... a lot of dinettes they aren't comfortable for a bigger person like me, and I think I could really get along just fine on this one over here. But I think most of the time, this is how everyone's going to have this set up, at least most folks, not everybody. I tend to speak in absolutes. It's kind of a flaw that I have, because it gives us this extra large, stretch out, kick back, relax, cuddle up with the family napping lounge over here, whatever you want to call it. Somebody called it a fainting lounge on our YouTube channel. Is that a thing? Is that like a regional thing? Is that something from down south or out west that just this little Midwestern boy I don't know about? The fainting lounge, where you can just walk up and faint on this thing? I don't know. You get the idea. Anyway, I like the fact that I could just sit in the corner. I could stretch out. And on most models where you find the VersaLounge, like this is a good example, it will actually help you face the entertainment center more organically and give you a more enjoyable experience overall. There's so many good things. Like, I haven't even talked about the accent lighting over the slide that makes the whole RV look bigger. There's so many good parts about this. And what's cool is when it is in L-Lounge fainting, napping, family cuddle mode, whatever you want to call it, you don't lose a dinette. And where I think this is perfect is if you do have kids or guests like this, if you're in a bunkhouse, you still have a little spot where you could sit down, make the kiddos a sandwich or, you know, Hot Pocket or whatever. You get the idea. Hot Pocket. And please don't sue me. You could still have a little spot there. They could play some little board games or something, card games in the corner. But you're still kind of right next to everybody. Everybody's still in the mix. And that's what camping's about for me. It's trying to get everybody together so that everyone has a good time. And I think this is a great way to do that. No matter your style of camping, no matter how many people are camping, this offers something for everybody. It's why I call it a Swiss Army sofa seat.